unbelievably cringe.
Last player standing.
So dudes, welcome back to the Gregor gaming experience. Did you miss the Yeet saxophone? I did too.
What the fuck?
I'm sorry. Are you a Zoomer? Do you like Playboy Cardi? You got a haircut like this? Well, the Neon's the agent for you. A certified Zoomer who will zoom her way into the enemy sight and into your heart. I'm not a Zoomer, and I'm not really a boomer. Us 96 millennials, we're stuck in a bizarre in-between. The boomers, or bazoomers, they come in all shapes and sizes, and most of the time, with student loan debt, commitment issues, a fixation on the main protagonist of a philosophically stimulating movie or TV show, a sense of dread from the current socio-political landscape, and last, but certainly not least,
Come on, man.
escape mechanisms, like ranked video games. Now, if your sense of self has been shattered by Riot's merciless and humbling pummeling of your last 3 months of ELO collection, you're not the only one. And I've got good news for you. The good news is, your rank is so low that there's nowhere to go but up. The bad news is, there's a dude holding your swing with an Ares. But don't you worry, I played Rainbow Six Siege, and I know what to do about guns with laser beam recoil and high fire rates. I swing them and pray that Peeker's advantage is on my side. And if that sounds like a good plan to you, then Neon is your gal, because her cardio is better than yours. Neon's primary ability is interesting because it's really like two abilities. When activated, Neon does the FitnessGram pacer test and goes into the game's first iteration of a sprint. In a game like Val, a dedicated sprint button might seem kind of useless to you, but it helps make Neon into an aggressive player when chained with her Apex slide. The sprint is like something you'd find in other FPS games. She can't shoot her gun while this ability is toggled, but as soon as you hit the ability key to slide, she can take advantage of Valorant's precise gunplay, especially useful in combination with any manner of guns that don't suffer from movement penalties like SMGs and shotguns. On attack, this sliding ability makes Neon into a pretty difficult to hit target, allowing her to take engagements with people whether they like it or not. The ability to create space and take map control here, to me, seems pretty obvious. You might be thinking, what's the difference between this and Raze's blast packs? Well, the main difference is that I suck at Raze, and I usually yeet myself into the wall or do a pogo stick jump into the air. The sliding mechanic might come naturally to you if you play a lot of Apex or COD, and might be more intuitive. It's a slide mechanic. You can use it to take gunfights while moving on enemies you know are there, and look MLG Pro. That's pretty much it. However, 2 kills recharge the slide. It doesn't have an infinite amount of uses. The sprinting ability runs on a recharge like Viper's Wall, though. The sprinting is useful in the sense that Neon can take advantage of faster movement over a longer period of time, whereas Raze can cover a shorter distance in a faster amount of time. Raze and Neon aren't useful for the same reasons, though, and that's exhibited by the fact that Neon doesn't have flashes or area denial. She has concussive stuns in the vein of Breach. Neon stuns, which she gets up to 2 of, are pretty dang effective because she can yeet them instantly. No wind-up time, no wind-up animation. However, there is a brief delay before the ability itself actually explodes. Hit the button, and Neon sends a stun that bounces once. Its 2 impact points leave a big circle that charges up and then eventually detonates, hitting everyone in its radius with a Breach stun. Slowed movement, faster gunfire rate, all that. Everybody's favorite mechanic in Valorant. Just kidding. Stuns are pretty powerful on Breach, but what made it a bit different with him is that usually somebody else has to follow up on the stun. Additionally, Breach usually has to charge it up. Neon can blast you, slide, and chances are you're not hitting a moving target that fast with such a slow rate of fire. The stuns work through walls, but they also have verticality to them. Depending on the angle at which the stuns impact surfaces, that means you can cover drops with them too, like Hookah Drop or Hell on Ascent. The radius is usually enough to cover entire rooms or entire lanes, if you get the angle right. But if you get the angle wrong, it's pretty easy to stun yourself. It takes a little bit of practice to get the timing of it right, and you might cut off your own pushes or stun your teammates a couple of times. Say you're sorry. Neon still has to move pretty quickly to capitalize on these stuns, and you just figured out why she's such a movement-based character. But that's not to say that she can't make defensive plays with them either. These things are perfect for catching unaware opponents in the midst of a push. While admittedly they're not flashes and they're not grenades like what Raze has, they can, well, strongly encourage people to move.
Oh, there's a wall there. That's why I can't shoot them.
If you think this puts Neon at a utility disadvantage, then you might change your mind when you look at her double wall. Sorry, Phoenix mains. Maybe Riot will remember you exist. Neon parts the red bomb site with a click of a button. Just in case Phoenix mains weren't already down bad, let me elaborate even more. This ability deploys 2 walls, which conceal her path from leftward and rightward angles. They deal more damage when passing through them, they travel longer, and they travel instantly, whereas Phoenix has to hit the button, wait a sec, and then cast it. What can Phoenix do? He can curve it.
Whoa!
This is worthless.
So yeah, Neon's wall, pretty freaking powerful. It basically creates a lane that she can use to entry and create space very quickly. Unlike Phoenix, who's kind of isolated to using his wall towards the edge of the site, Neon can cross from an elevated angle as well as any corners within the site. It's a bit expensive though at 300 creds. That's kind of the theme with her. Her 200 credit stuns further emphasize this pattern. Neon has good tools, but they don't come cheap. The wall isn't just useful for aggressive playmaking though. Sometimes you can use it in a defensive way, and you can kind of play around with the fact that there are two individual walls that you can peek off of and play little timing games with. It's a pretty good ability. I wouldn't be surprised if it gets a nerf soon. Something else that may get a nerf soon is her ult. Neon's ult, the Senate.
I am the Senate.
Neon uses the power of the dark side, I mean the power of mechanical energy, to blast enemies with lightning hands. She gets full movement accuracy and a speed buff while the ability is active, making her hard to hit, which, combined with the fast time to kill, makes it pretty freaking good. Unlike Jett, who has a quote-unquote slow fire rate with her knives, Neon is casting a constant damage over time spell that rewards good tracking accuracy. So my advice to you, if you're not used to that, play some tracking exercises in Kovacs. Tracking accuracy is still something nice to have in a game like Valorant, regardless of whether or not you're going to play Neon, though. Another aspect about the ult that's different is that it actively rewards you for moving.
Nice, Greg.
Ultimate power.
A power meter is generated by Neon's movement that caps out at 40. Think of it like you've got 40 shots. You'll replenish at max ammo every time you get a kill. But the biggest disadvantage with the ability, although it's very good, is that it can't one-shot. So people with good aim will take advantage of that.
I've got your trail.
Your fault. Enemy kill.
Also, the ult does not last forever like Jett. Neon activates it, and she has a certain amount of time to act before the ult disappears. It refreshes with kills though, so my advice is to wait for the right moment to pop it, and when you do, unless there's like a really unique circumstance in which it makes sense to do so, do not angle hold. Full send. Do the stupidest, swinging, Call of Duty-ass plays your heart desires, because if you don't, you're not going to get the full advantage out of it. This ult lets Neon make very aggressive plays that her counterparts can't get away with, and opens a lot of opportunities for site executes or unexpected flanks. Remember not to W peek too much. Use the A and D keys as much as you can to strafe, and you're going to be a harder target to hit. Another reason to just nut up and full send, the ability has a damage range drop-off point. Overall, Neon is a fun, dynamic playmaker that can push the envelope and make attacks that seemed like a waste of time into opportunities for your team to get map control. There is a caveat, though. On defense, I'd say she's not as good, and the reason for that is because her ability to peel away is not as good as Jett or Reyna's. Neon's sliding and sprinting are better for attacking, not for playing passive angles and retreating. For this reason, she's not quite as meta as Jett. Jett is a lot more versatile and can switch back and forth between aggressive and passive play, but on attack, I just kind of pretend I'm playing Apex. I go for the risky pushes that sometimes might not work out. If your teammates got your back, they'll get your trade. Remember, opening picks are very important to get on attack because man count is an extremely important asset for the defense. Take advantage of Neon's ability to take gunfights and swing bad about a swing. If you liked this video, be sure to subscribe for more episodes of the Gregor Gaming Experience. Next week, I'll be covering Sage. Thanks for watching, and good luck with the ladder climb. Deuces.
Pushing up. Ethan, yeah.
Let's go.
Oh!
GG.
GG.